Once upon a time, deep inside a quiet, misty forest, there lived a young fox named Kiro. He was fast, curious, and full of dreams. Every single morning, Kiro would sit by a hill and watch the birds flying high across the golden sky. And every time he'd whisper to himself, "One day, I'm gonna touch those clouds too." But the other animals? They didn't believe in him. The old owl said, "Foxes don't fly, kid." The raccoon laughed, "Stay on the ground where you belong." Still, Kiro didn't care. He kept dreaming. He'd climb tall trees, leap from rock to rock, and imagine what it would feel like to soar through the wind like those birds above. One evening, while walking near the edge of a cliff, Kiro heard something, a soft, painful cry. He followed the sound and found a small falcon, lying weak and trembling, one of her wings completely broken. She had fallen during a storm and couldn't move. Kiro didn't think twice. He gently picked her up, carried her to a cave nearby, and brought her food every day. He stayed beside her through cold nights until she started to heal. Days passed, then weeks. The falcon, whom he later named Ira, finally stood again, but her wing was still too weak to fly. One morning, as sunlight hit the cave entrance, Ira sighed and said, "Maybe I'll never fly again." Kiro looked at her and smiled softly. "Then we'll learn together," he said. "If you can't fly, I'll climb higher. If I can't fly, I'll still keep trying to touch the clouds." And from that moment, their journey began. Every single day, they trained together. Kiro would sprint up the hills while Ira flapped beside him, stretching her wings as far as she could. Sometimes she fell, sometimes he slipped, but neither of them gave up. Of course, the forest animals laughed again. "Why are you wasting your time, Kiro? You're a fox, not a bird." But he just smiled and said, "Trying's better than doing nothing." Weeks rolled by. Ira's wing grew stronger. She could finally flutter for short distances. And every time she lifted off the ground, Kiro cheered like it was the biggest win in the world. You could see how proud he was. And then came the day that changed everything. The two friends stood on the same cliff where they'd first met. The sun was rising, the whole sky painted in shades of orange and gold. Ira looked nervous. "What if I fall again?" she whispered. Kiro smiled gently and said, "Then I'll be right here to catch you." Ira took a deep breath, spread her wings wide, and jumped. The wind roared past her feathers, and this time, she didn't fall. She flew, higher and higher, faster and freer than ever before, slicing through the clouds with pure joy. Kiro stood below, eyes shining, watching her disappear into the horizon. He couldn't fly himself, but in that moment, it didn't matter, because he had helped someone else reach their sky, and that, he realized, was its own kind of flight. A few days later, Ira returned. In her beak, she carried something shining, a single, white feather from her journey above the clouds. She dropped it in front of Kiro and said, "You made me fly again, so now this feather is your piece of the sky." Kiro smiled, because even though his paws would never leave the ground, his heart already had. You don't need wings to soar. All it really takes is courage, hope, and the will to never give up. Like Kiro, your dreams might sound crazy to some people. They might laugh, they might doubt you, but every climb, every failure, every small effort, it all brings you closer to your breakthrough. Keep believing. Keep moving, because success doesn't belong to those who start strong. It belongs to those who refuse to quit.